Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and in EV and Tesla news, we are talking about basically 7 top car makers that have cars all over the United States. They've got to be something like 80% of like all the cars out there. And I'm wondering if they can stop Tesla. Now, this is coming from the Associated Press, and I think it's interesting, and I think it's an important one in terms of what the future of refueling is going to look like. Now, there was an announcement on Wednesday, July 26th, from 7 major automakers who stated that they are joining forces to build a large North American electric vehicle charging network in hopes of getting people to at least consider switching away from gas-powered vehicles and onto electric. At least that's how the industry analysts are seeing this move by. And check out these brands that are on board with this. General Motors, also known as Buick, Cadillac, GMC, Chevy, Buick, and more. Not to mention BMW, also known as BMW, Mini, Rolls-Royce, and more. Honda, Hyundai, also known as Genesis, as well as some others, Kia, Mercedes, and Stellantis. Stellantis being Jeep, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Dodge, Maserati, Chrysler, and more as well. Again, massive car brands all over the United States, from basic to luxury, and they are looking to build a network of fast chargers that will rival Tesla's and will nearly double the number of charging outlets or plugs in the United States and Canada. Now, the company said that they are sharing in this multi-billion-dollar investment to build a quote-unquote high-power charging station or stations with at least 30,000 plugs in urban areas and along travel corridors by 2030. So about 6-ish years from now. The dramatic move is intended to basically allay fears that the chargers won't be available for long distance travel. It's been one of the biggest issues. Can you drive from here to California in an electric vehicle without having to go like way out of your way to charge? And then you got to wait and, blah, blah, blah. So these companies combined would not disclose the exact number of charging stations or the financial details of this joint venture that they're forming to put this network in place. They said that the first of these U.S. chargers will be ready next summer. That is 2024. Now, there are currently just 8,700 direct current fast charging stations in the U.S. and Canada, with nearly 36,000 charging plugs, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. So even with 30,000 more plugs, the United States will basically need far more chargers, and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory estimates that 182,000 fast chargers will be needed by 2030. Now, fast chargers can get a battery to 80% of its capacity in somewhere between 20 minutes to an hour, making them optimal for travel corridors, and in some cases comparable to the time it takes up to fill a car with gasoline. And to be fair, I've owned some big vehicles in my life and small vehicles. I don't think it's ever taken me 20 minutes basically to fill it up, unless it's like a huge SUV or something. Now, they're much quicker than the 240 volt level 2 chargers that can take hours to get a battery to full charge. That's what a lot of people have in their homes. Now, the new network is expected to have 10 to 20 charging plugs per station, meaning that there would be a minimum of 1,500 stations and a maximum of about 3,000. So we're probably looking at somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 of these stations. Now, Tesla's network has the largest number of fast chargers in North America at the moment. They have 2,050 stations and more than 22,000 plugs in the US and Canada, according to the Department of Energy. This network, formed by the automakers, would be public and open to all electric vehicle owners. It will have connectors for Tesla's basically charging ports for their North American charging standard plugs, as well as the combined charging system plugs used by the other automakers as well. And I think what we have here is an Apple Lightning port versus USB-C standard, where what you have are the major automakers that combined will sell way more cars than Tesla. Tesla was not going to be that big because, again, you're talking about like GMC, like Stellantis. These are massive, massive global corporations that are getting on board with this. And by virtue of that, they're going to have more cars out there. And so it really looked like Tesla was poised to win the entire charging station, meaning the standard for the charging port would be a Tesla design available on all vehicles, but it seems like the combined weight of basically 7 of the major auto manufacturers in the entire world coming down on this, they've got a real hefty advantage here. And so we're going to see where this goes. I don't think Tesla, being the Lightning port, is going to win over USB-C. There's way more USB-C than there is the Lightning port. That was Apple's proprietary design, but the world is basically moving Apple to USB-C as well, thanks to a ruling recently by the EU. And I think this is going to be no different here. And the last thing we want is to have basically a Lightning port versus USB-C or HD DVD versus Blu-ray situation, if you're old enough to remember that, and on and on and on. VHS versus beta. We can go on for this forever. We're going to have one standard. And I don't think at this point it's going to be Tesla unless something else changes, but that's a huge, huge shift in the automotive industry, especially on the standards, as well as the income for Tesla that could basically be leasing those designs or selling that product directly to the manufacturers on top of making their own vehicles. And if that corridor goes away, obviously that's a revenue stream they're going to lose. So I think they're going to fight tooth and nail. We're going to see what happens with this, but that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.